In 208 BCE, a Chinese prime minister named Li Si was dragged into a town square. They tattooed his face, sliced off his nose, chopped off both his feet, and then, while he was still alive and screaming, they cut him clean in half at the waist. All of that was completely legal. For over 3,000 years, Imperial China turned human suffering into an exact science. These are the 20 worst torture methods they ever used, and number 1 is the reason grown men begged for a quick death they were never going to get. Let's start with number 20. Beaten until the bones show. Every town in Imperial China had a building called a yamen. That was where the local magistrate handed out punishment, and the most common punishment was a bamboo cane, about as thick as a grown man's thumb, slammed across the bare buttocks over and over again. The Qing dynasty allowed up to 100 strikes with the heavy stick. After 40 hits, the skin split wide open. Infection set in within days. A full 100-strike sentence was basically a death warrant. The Yuan dynasty made it official with 2 levels. Light stick meant 7 to 57 strikes. A heavy stick meant 67 to 107. Most prisoners who got the heavy version never walked out of that courtyard. And there was no defense lawyer, no jury, and no appeal. The magistrate pointed at you, and that was your fate. When Jesuit missionaries arrived in Beijing during the early 1600s, they were shocked at how low the crime rate was compared to Europe. Now you know the reason. But bamboo beatings? That was the gentle stuff. What the Chinese did to publicly shame a person was a whole different kind of cruelty. Here comes number 19. The wooden prison around your neck. Imagine a massive wooden board weighing over 200 pounds locked around your neck. So wide you cannot reach your own mouth. So heavy you cannot lie down to sleep. That was the Kang. A placard listing every crime you committed was nailed directly onto the wood for the whole city to read. Guards dragged you to the busiest gate in town every morning so crowds could stare and spit at you. Some prisoners wore this thing for 6 straight months. The Northern Qi dynasty started using it around 550 CE, and it stayed in use for more than 1,300 years through the end of the Qing. You could not eat unless a stranger fed you by hand. Many collapsed from exhaustion, and the weight slowly crushed their neck and spine. And the government considered this a minor punishment. What comes next is where the real pain starts, and it only gets worse from here. Let's move to number 18. Crushing your fingers one by one. The Ming dynasty had a secret police force called the Embroidered Uniform Guard. They answered directly to the emperor, and they had a favorite toy for getting confessions. 5 small wooden sticks connected by a single rope. Your fingers went between the sticks. Then, someone pulled the rope tight from both ends, slowly and steadily. First, the knuckles cracked. Then the bones splintered. This device was called the zunji, and it was built specifically for interrogating women. Under Chinese law, a person could not be convicted without first confessing. So this little device existed for one reason: to force words out of your mouth. It did not matter if those words were true. The zunji was used from the Song dynasty all the way through 1911. Over 900 years of crushed fingers and forced confessions. Next one is number 17. Smashing your ankles to pieces. 3 wooden planks, each about a yard long, tied together with cords. Your ankles went between the planks, and the interrogator pulled the ropes from both sides, squeezing the wood tighter and tighter against your bones until they cracked apart. This was the jagun, completely legal, completely accepted across multiple dynasties. A Portuguese Jesuit priest named Álvaro Semedo described it firsthand after spending a full year inside a Chinese prison during the 1616 anti-Christian campaign. He watched the jagun break ankle after ankle. Prisoners confessed to murders they never committed and plots they never planned. Anything to stop the crushing. But the Chinese had devices that went after more than just your ankles. They went after your skull. Here comes number 16. Squeezing your skull until it cracks. A leather ring fitted around your head, a string attached to it, a bamboo frame holding the whole thing in place. During interrogation, the guards pulled the string tighter and tighter, compressing your entire skull. Ming Dynasty records call this the Naogu. It was first described during the Song Dynasty and was technically illegal through most of imperial history. But bans meant nothing behind closed doors. The pressure burst blood vessels in the eyes, caused blinding headaches, and in extreme cases cracked the skull itself. Officials kept using it for centuries because it worked. People confessed to anything when they felt their own head closing in. And that was still just the warm-up. The next one targets the most sensitive nerves in your entire body. Let's move to number 15. Bamboo hammered under the fingernails. During the early Tang Dynasty, an official named Wang Shu sharpened bamboo sticks to fine points and hammered them one by one under prisoners' fingernails. The nerve endings under your nails are among the most sensitive in the human body, and the pain was so extreme that nearly everyone blacked out. During the Han Dynasty, another official named Shui An used iron needles the same way during a corruption investigation in Yangzhou. He hammered needles under a clerk's fingernails and then forced the man to scrape hard soil from the ground with his bleeding hands. This was never about punishment. This was about breaking a person's mind completely. And it lasted over 1,000 years. Next one is number 14. Strangled by your own body weight. A tall, narrow wooden box with a hole cut at the top for your neck. Your head stuck out above the frame. Your hands and feet were chained inside. And beneath your feet sat a pile of stones. That pile was the only thing between you and death. Every single day, a guard removed 1 or 2 stones from the bottom. Your body sank lower. The frame pressed harder against your throat. And over days, sometimes weeks, you slowly strangled to death under your own weight. You were fully awake. You could see the crowd watching. You could hear them talking about when you would finally stop breathing. And there was nothing you could do except feel the air leaving your lungs, 1 stone at a time. We are only at number 14. And the real horrors have not even started yet. Here comes number 13. Burned and branded for life. Red-hot irons pressed directly onto bare skin. Red-hot coins placed on the body one at a time. Some interrogators wrapped fingers in oil-soaked paper and lit them on fire, creating what they called burning finger candles. During certain dynasties, prisoners were forced to hug a heated bronze pillar until their chest and arms blistered completely. Branding the face was so common that it became one of the original 5 legal punishments, going back to the Shang Dynasty, around the 11th century BCE. The character for this punishment, Mo, literally means ink, because the burn scars left permanent dark marks. Everyone who saw your face after that knew your crime without you ever saying a single word. Let's move to number 12. Your nose sliced off in public. A blade across your face. 0 anesthetic, 0 warning. 1 quick slice, and your nose was gone forever. This punishment was called Yi, and it was so routine in ancient China that the language created a special character just for it. The punishment went back over 3,000 years to the Shang Dynasty. Courts handed it out for assault and certain types of theft. The victim survived, but they carried the shame everywhere for the rest of their life. In Chinese culture, physical wholeness was directly connected to honor, family reputation, and your fate in the afterlife. A missing nose told the whole world your story before you ever opened your mouth. Your face became your criminal record. If you've made it this far, hit that subscribe button. We cover the darkest chapters of history every single week, and the methods coming up next are on a level that is hard to even process. Next one is number 11. Feet chopped off and kneecaps scraped away. The punishment was called yue, and it meant chopping off one or both feet with a single blow. In 1999, archaeologists digging in Shaanxi province found a female skeleton missing the right foot. Medical analysis confirmed she was a victim of yue, one of the oldest physically proven torture methods in Chinese history. But there was something even worse than losing your feet. Some prisoners had their kneecaps scraped completely off. That punishment was called bin. The most famous victim was Sun Bin, a military genius from the 4th century BCE. After both kneecaps were removed, he could never walk or ride a horse again. He spent the rest of his career commanding entire armies from a wooden cart. His very name was changed to permanently mark what they did to him. Here comes number 10. Everything below the belt, gone forever. They called it palace punishment. The process was slow and methodical. A rope was tied tightly around the genitals to kill the tissue. Then a blade removed everything. Ash was packed into the wound, and a goose feather was pushed into the urinary passage to keep it from sealing shut. The most famous victim was Sima Qian, the father of Chinese historical writing. Around 94 BCE, Emperor Wu gave him a choice: die right now or lose your manhood and live. Sima Qian chose castration because he had not finished writing the Records of the Grand Historian, one of the most important books in all of Chinese history. He survived and completed his masterwork, but thousands of other men died from infection within weeks. Those who survived served as eunuchs in the palace, cut off from normal life forever. And this still does not crack the top 5. The ones ahead are so extreme, they are hard to even describe. Let's move to number 9. Flesh scraped off layer by layer. They called this punishment combing and washing. The name sounds gentle. The reality was pure nightmare. The prisoner was stripped naked and strapped to an iron bed. Boiling water was poured over the entire body, and then an iron brush, a tool that looked like a heavy wire scrubbing pad, was dragged across the skin, layer by layer. First, the outer skin peeled away, then deeper tissue, then muscle, then bone. Historical records credit Zhu Yuanzhang, the founding emperor of the Ming dynasty,